Hi, this is Ayabami, and this project is about the brain drain during the Cold War. I'm going to give a brief summary of this event before I start the project. During the Cold War, there was a great difference in the way of living in the democratic and communist nations in Europe. So to escape Soviet dominance and gain opportunities in democratic nations, thousands of people fled across the Iron Curtain to Western Europe, which resulted in the brain drain. In this event, scientists and other intellectuals fled to Western Europe for better opportunities. This was a source of political embarrassment to the Eastern countries because it hurt them economically and intellectually. The brain drain led to the creation of the Berlin Wall. So, what kind of migrants were these people? Were they migrants or refugees? These people were migrants, not refugees, because they were not forced to leave the country due to persecution, natural disaster, or war, but rather most of them left willingly to enjoy better lifestyles in the West. Secondly, they were also international migrants because they moved from Eastern countries to Western countries. They moved from countries under the Warsaw Pact to countries under NATO. For example, people moved from East Germany to West Germany, from Yugoslavia to Italy. And finally, these people were also interregional migrants because they moved from one region to another. They moved from Eastern Europe to Western Europe. This is a map. This is a migration map that shows the movement of people during the Cold War. This map shows how people moved from communist countries to democratic countries. The arrow shows movement from the brown-colored countries to the green-colored countries. The brown-colored countries are countries under the Warsaw Pact, while the green-colored countries are countries under NATO. There were several push factors that led people to emigrate out of Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe had an autocratic government, which was more or less a totalitarian government. People were restricted under communism, and there was a lack of opportunities, both economically and intellectually. The government forced people to work in the industries, leading to a shortage of consumer goods, which the people liked. Overall, people living in the Soviet Union lived a harder lifestyle, and also because they were always trying to escape debt in Eastern Europe because the government was very violent. There were also many pull factors that caused people to immigrate to Western Europe. The West, for example, had a more democratic political system, which meant people had more individual rights. The West also had more opportunities, more economically and intellectually, because people were happy there, so there were more intellectual people, and the West moved forward as a more developed country. The West overall had better living conditions than Eastern countries. There were several effects on the place of origin, which was Eastern Europe. Intelligence rate, for one, went down because the intellectual people left, which led to a loss of skilled workers. And because there was less intellects in Eastern Europe, the countries did not move forward as MDCs, and they could not compete with developing countries. Eastern Europe was also embarrassed. There were also several effects on destination. Naturally, as more skilled workers move into the country, intelligence rates go up. More skilled workers like doctors, scientists are available to the country. And with more skilled workers available to the country has more opportunities to develop as an MDC and become more powerful in Europe. There was a large number of people that relocated from Eastern to Western Europe. So to prevent more people from leaving Eastern Europe, the Berlin Wall was erected. This was a highly fortified wall built to stop migration from the east to the west. The Berlin Wall separated the communist and democratic countries by splitting Berlin into two separate nations. This wall stopped people from having lives with freedom and more opportunities. Most people hated this wall because they were separated from their families and the chance at a better lifestyle. This is a picture of the Berlin Wall and people protesting against it because it was a barrier. It was a barrier to get to democratic nations. Thank you for your kind attention.